Get my camera on. Very warm welcome to everybody on this winter morning. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We usually just give everybody a few extra minutes to join. So we've got a good sized group so far, but I think let's just give another five if everybody is happy with that. And then we start punctually at 9:35 if that works. Okay, with you, Seth, everybody. Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, everybody. Assistance on the side. I see we will be having Seth join us in a few moments. It's just resetting. In the meantime, again, a very warm welcome to all of you this morning. For those of you who joined just after 9:30. Also, for those of you who don't know, we have been running these workshops every quarter for about 2 years now, if I'm not mistaken. And I must say that there's been a lot of progress in terms of attendance. We started out when attendance was not so good. And we know that sometimes with religious leaders and with religion and culture, we don't always get, those things are so ingrained. And gender-based violence is not something that's always accepted. And when I say accepted, I don't mean acceptance of gender-based violence, but acceptance that it is there, acceptance that we need to be doing something about it. So I'm very pleased to say that we've been persevering, been going ahead, irrespective of attendance levels. And this is where we're at after almost 2 years. So today, this morning, our workshop focuses, and most of us know, I'm hoping that all of us do, that June is devoted to the youth. And we do know that the youth is a very, very important demographic, particularly around influence and developmentally and how and outlooks when it comes to relationships. And that is what we're going to be focusing on this morning. And we're going to be looking at how gender norms can be reshaped, how we can influence healthy relationships. We've been focusing a little bit on the last few sessions on engaging boys, working with families. So, we do know that we have to work with the whole system. And I'm hoping that all of you are going to enjoy this morning's session. Again, you're going to find it valuable, useful. We have two great facilitators here this morning who I'm going to introduce you to. So I know that you're going to take a lot out of it. Please feel free to engage, comment, ask questions. You will get opportunities to do that. Beyond those opportunities, again, feel free to put things in the chat. And when we get the chance, or when we're changing presenters, or we will give you the opportunity to unmute and share. So without further ado, I'm just going to quickly check if Seth, I see there is a share and that block is gone.
Yep, looking much better. Thank you,
Okay.
Steph.
All right. That was a little bit, but thank you again, everybody, for your patience and for bearing with us. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to our presenters this morning. We have Seth Niker. And Seth is a social justice Christian. He goes about making a difference through speaking, writing, and critical learning, and he makes impact amongst his family, faith, and beloved community. Seth is the MD at Indie Afrique, associate and facilitator at Heartlines, member of the coordination team at Faith Action to End Gender-Based Violence. He's at the faculty and member of leadership team at Falmouth Youth Leadership Training Program. He's also the associate and facilitator at Columbia Leadership Trust, and part-time at the faculty of GIBS. So there you go, Seth. Marisha, also very impressive bio, and I couldn't go through the whole thing. So that is why I'm just giving a very, very abridged version. Um, Marisha describes herself as a wounded healer, CEO of Indie Afrique, relationship and family therapist, advanced circle keeper, PR activist with Faith Action to End GBV, and a community mobilizer with Heartlines. So there you go, lots of experience, lots of hats being worn. So yeah, I know you're in good hands this morning. So without further ado, again, I'm going to start the program. But before we go on, I just want to do a brief check-in. So if anybody wants to switch on the camera um, and unmute and share and give a brief intro, you're more than welcome to do that. You can also share with us why you thought today's session would be valuable to you and why you've chosen to join us. Anyone wants to share? Any expectations? Are we all looking to be surprised this morning?
I will say that I'm hoping to learn.
Okay, good. Yes, that's a good place to start. We're all here to learn and build on our knowledge base. And I'm sure that we can learn from your presence as well. Thank you, Portia.
Good morning.
Is everybody else finding that there's an echo?
No echo.
No, it's fine from my side.
No echo from my side, Anissa. Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Good morning.
Anybody else? Just quickly checking the chat if there's anything there for expectations. Nobody?
Good morning. Hi. I'm not sure why I've got such a bad echo. Am I echoing?
Gary? I
Yes.
think there's some issue with your sound.
Okay.
There's a terrible, like a bouncing echo. Okay. All right, so you're more than welcome. We will continue with the program this morning. If anybody has or you think of any expectations that you might have, you're more than welcome to pop it in the chat. So to start our program, I'm going to hand you over to Marisha, who set the container this morning. Over to you, Marisha.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Anissa. It's really great to be here with each of you. I will switch my video off for bandwidth shortly, but just to say that we're grateful that we can be talking about the issues that young people face, but also some of the hot topics that come up that we sometimes, as the faith sector, don't want to touch on. And so this morning, to make sure that we are understanding that we want to create a little bit of safety so that we feel comfortable to talk about these taboo topics, whether it's sex and sexuality, consent, our bodies, and just some of the tough issues that youth face. We want to offer you this image of a container. And we know that many of the spaces we are part of, we sometimes may not feel safe, and it isn't safe. And we only try to create a container that's safer So think about what values will we need for us as we discuss, as we share, as there may be disagreements, different opinions, different cultural, religious views, that we co-create a container of being safe with each other, or safer, because no space is ideally safe, but we want it to be a little bit more safer, more courageous. So how do we ask the tough questions? How do we bring our courage to mentioning some of the things that we sometimes would sweep under the carpet as the religious sector? And then how do we have a space that's accountable as well? So if somebody shares something, how do we keep that with confidence? How do we also, if the need to share, if someone's in danger or if someone needs resources, how are we then accountable to each other for that? So if you could please put that in the chat, what values you will need, what are some of the virtues, whether you could say honesty or openness or respect, non-judgmentalness. I know sometimes it's hard. We have our judgments, and judgments help in us surviving, and that's good. But how do we reserve judgment in this space? So as you are thinking about that, maybe put that in the chat. And then if you agree to some of those, so I think we take it for granted. We say respect, but can I get a thumbs up if you deeply this morning are going to bring yourself with respect and offer that to others as well? So at least if you could give me a thumbs up for that. Okay, thank you. I'm seeing some of those. Then please do use the chat for other values that you may need, so that our space feels a little bit more safer. It becomes more courageous as we share together, and then also we are accountable to each other, which means that there may be discomfort, and discomfort is good because it's about bringing in the different views. It's about sharing what I believe, what you believe, and how do we move to common ground. And we sit with that. So it doesn't mean we have to have all the answers, or that we have to push each other to, you have to agree to what I'm saying, but how do we create a space where we're able to deeply understand and deeply listen to each other? So I do see that there were some check-in questions as well. So you're welcome to share your name, where you checking in from or logging in from, your organization, and then also share those values that you think would be important for our container. So I'm going to quickly look at the chat, and maybe as you feel free to just put it on the chat. I'm going to just copy what Seth has put in, so you can see the questions there.
Okay, so Marisha, I'm seeing no responses to your last question, but I am seeing comments around expectations. So one is the personal growth, but also I'm seeing an expectation around using the information or the webinar, the learnings from today's session to develop programs, or to use them in youth programs and programs on the ground, which is great. Because that's what we really want. We want us to be able to carry forward our learnings into the work, the daily work that we do. After all, that's why we're here.
Yes, absolutely. And we're hoping that even though we have Anissa moderating and chairing, Seth and I sharing together with Neo, I just want to check if Neo has joined in. She was having problems with her device, so she signed in with another device. Neo, are you here as yet?
Yes, I am, Marisha.
Okay, great. Please tell me you've signed in with which device? Or what's the name?
I'm not sure what her name is.
Marisha,
Okay.
I think Neo is signed
Can
in
you look
as
for
under your
Ellen?
name.
As who, Seth?
As
She's signed in under your name, it
as you,
looks like.
Marish.
I
Oh,
can
okay.
rename that one.
Oh, I see,
Or
because I
just
shared
say
my link
thank
with
because
you.
you said your link. Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm wondering why there's two Marishas there. Okay, Neo was having problem logging in from her device, so I sent her my link. Okay, that's great to know that you are there. I
And
will
then,
change. Okay, good. It's
and
changed
then
to Neo
Marisha
now.
Washifa Duplessis' hand is up.
Okay, good. We'll move to that. I'm just glad we sorted out Neo's that she is in there, and then Anissa will introduce you as well. I'm glad you're here. Uh, Apologies for that, dear friends. We were just trying to find out where Neo was, and there seems to be like some gremlins with the tech this morning. So our sincere apologies for that, but I'm glad we've sorted it all out. Okay, let's go to those hands, and then I will read a few off the chat as well. Please, who was it that had their hand up? I'm not seeing it now, but please do unmute and share.
I think it was Washifa. Washifa, would you like to ask a question or make a comment?
Okay, I don't see it now, but let me quickly look at the chat. Thank you, Marcia, who's just sharing where Marcia is joining from and looking at how they can empower their program with more knowledge on GBV. So that's good to know. And for also her personal growth. I see we have a social worker from Vredenburg, welcome. And then Rahab is saying they value openness, non-judgmental, and respect for all. Thank you. I think we also value that. I value that as well. Margaret, thank you. Knowing more about the organization and how I can empower the team to deal with different challenges. Okay, so we're grateful for that. Sam, coming in from Zambia, welcome all the way from Zambia. Uh, as religious leaders, important to handle issues on mental health? Absolutely. So hopefully some of that will come up, especially with what Neo is presenting and how to deal with wellness and using yoga and some of the other wellness exercises that she will share. So thank you so much, everybody, for that. I do appreciate the values you have shared and that we all commit to having the safe, courageous, and accountable space, and that we continue to share our resources so that we can implement them in the different spaces that we are at. Thank you, Nisa. Back over to you.
Thanks, Marisha, for that. Thank you for setting the tone of today's session. So we're going to proceed with our next presenter or facilitator, and that is Seth, who I've already introduced you to, and he's going to be looking at positive masculinity, the active positive presence of men and fathers, which I know that Faith Action Collective has been working on, and more and more in the space of gender-based violence, the engagement of men and boys being highlighted, reinforced, because we cannot address gender-based violence effectively without engaging men and boys. So over to you, Seth. Although I do see a hand from Washifa. Washifa, do you want to unmute before Seth proceeds with his section of the program? You can unmute Washifa. I see her hand is gone. Washifa, it's back.
Anissa, you are muted now.
Sorry, over to you, Seth. Washifa, just a reminder, if you have anything, you can put it in the chat.
He says I am having technical glitches on my side. Okay. So friends, those of you that are here, I like doing this. My name is Seth Naike. Thank you, Anissa, for the lovely welcome this morning. And we are grateful to have 46 of us here. So as we get into the workshop, may I ask you to please celebrate the moment with us? And if you have the bandwidth, can I ask you to please unmute so we can just say hello and see one another, and then you can switch off. And I also like to take some screen grabs to celebrate the moment of this workshop. Can I ask you to do that, please? Those that are willing to please turn on your videos. There we have Anissa turning on, Marisha, we there. Yes, thank you. Neo's there. So you can see us. Others, you're welcome. I don't have video. Okay, thank you, Gary. Gary doesn't have video access. Others, if you'd like, I'm just going to give you a few seconds. Sam, where are you? Sam, my colleague Sam. I've worked with him in other spaces. It's good to have you back, Sam. Reverend Joel is here. Beulah, Joandre, are you guys willing to turn on? No video. I also don't have video. Okay, a few people. Sydney Twala, you raised your hand. You're welcome to speak. I'm about to take a screen grab. So those of us that are here, there we go. And we're at least celebrating the moment with your blocks and your names. And there's 2 pages on my screen, so we're grateful that you joined. Sydney, I see your digital hand up. Are you good? Do you want to say anything? And then I would like to, because we want to celebrate interactive, why you came. Anissa has asked. There's only like about 7 responses. Please, in your chat box right now, let's blow it up, okay? Let's blow up the chat box, and the topic, again, I'll remind us, the topic is faith.
Sorry, say about the hand. It was a mistake.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. Who's this, Mr.
Sydney Twala?
Twala. Okay, Twala,
Yes.
you can put your hand down, but please, it's on your digital devices. You just go there and you lower your hand, and I'll take that away. But for now, this is the topic that we have, and this was, put together by our host, our Honorable Anissa Musa. Faith perspective supporting youth in building positive gender norms and relationships. So that's the topic for the day, or for the time. Well, not the whole day, but we have 3 hours. So I'm putting it in the box, in the chat box there. And I would really like you to take the time to blow up the chat box. And why is it that you've come? What is the purpose of you being here? What is the learning? What's the questions that you're asking? Excuse me, about this topic of faith perspectives, supporting youth and building positive gender norms. I have an infographic, and before I go there, I'll kind of swap to this image for us to share with you. I have an image to share, so let me go there. While you blowing up the chat box, okay? And this is it. This is just by way of us being together for the morning. I'll hide this floating. So our time together, we've covered our welcome and introduction. Thank you to Marisha for setting a container, and hopefully you feel that we have created in that way by us saying our values, the values that will help build the conversation. But we'd also like to see your full participation. I think that's important for me in the container. And then we're looking at this arena of work, considering positive masculinity. Neo is going to bring in the health aspect of yoga and well-being for youth. And then Marisha is going to touch the hot topics and busting myths. We also have a reflection where we'll consider some resources, and then June 16, 1976, and then we come to our close, okay? But here's the image that I wanted to put up, kind of bringing together what we're doing today. And as you're thinking about it, why is it that this topic has called you? 46 of us have come. I'm sure that in your community, questions are being raised. So I want to just pause on this time and really just allow you to express your views in the chat box. And if there's anyone that would like to, you feel like you'd like to share, short and sweet, keep it sharp, you can share. This is my point of view when it comes to this faith perspective. This is why I'm interested in this topic. This is why I'm here today for the learning. Okay, I just want to give it like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So let's see what we are doing on the chat box together. Can you guys still hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. We can.
How's the chat box looking there? If someone can help me.
Seth, at the moment, we're a bit low on contributions in the chat.
We're low on contributions in the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're still warming up to this morning and this day. It's quite
Okay.
cold in many places, so maybe we cold with our responses as yet. Maybe a little later.
Yeah, I think, Seth, maybe we'll leave it to you to do the warming up. And I'm sure that during the course of this morning session, people will respond to some of the content that you have.
Yes. Yes. So thank you for that. And I hope that you will feel free to put in your contributions. Marisha, can I just hand back to you, please? I'm just having a technical glitch.
Okay. Yes, no
And I
problem.
can't
So we
find
do
my.
have one coming in
Okay, good.
from Aletu saying expectations to gain more knowledge about the following, how gender norms affect youth relationships, and then signs of unhealthy versus healthy relationships. And thank you, Aletu. Those are important ones. We're gonna hope that we touch some of those. We're going to be sharing, I think Wade will come up talking about some harmful traditional gender norms and roles, and it will definitely come up there. But we want to offer one of the resources called Key Ready app, which allows us to look at some of these red flags in relationships, aspects about consent and boundaries. And so I will take you through that. And if you have a smart device, have you sign up to that and share it with other young people. So at any time, if they have any of those questions, whether it's about those red flag in relationships, whether it's being pressured into doing something, they can just ask a question and it will give some really good insight into that as well. Then we have Ruth Magrat saying she's from DSD in Stellenbosch. Welcome, and she works with foster care children, and she's mentoring them on that journey. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing what you are doing, assisting traumatized youth with gender norms and relationships. So it's really good to see the different work that people are doing and are involved in when it comes to gender norms, when it comes to youth. And if I can say, yeah, I think I'm sure we have a range of different generations, but I think all of us here know what it's like to be a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old. We all have lived through it. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, and we know what happens when we get to that stage of dealing with, some of these tough issues that youth face, whether it's puberty, whether it's relationships, whether it's identity and gender roles and sex and sexuality. We have a wealth of knowledge and experience which you too can share from, things that if you are comfortable with And again, I want to say that our container, what we share here, will remain here. It's nowhere to bring shame, because a lot of the talk that goes around when we talk about these issues, there's a lot of guilt and shame and blaming. And so we want to make sure that we bring what we feel safe to bring, but also what we've learned in our own journeys as young people, what worked for us, what didn't work for us, what we wish we had. Seth, how's it looking on your side? Can I read a few more from the chat?
Yes, please, Marisha. And then I'll go back into the slide deck. Thank you.
Okay. So Sam is saying issues to deal with family order and morality. Yes, thank you for that, Sam. And human dignity created for every person, created in the image of God. I think that's clearly what we want to highlight this morning and afternoon, about when we look at the faith perspective. We have these wonderful ideals and values when it comes to, for example, the whole aspect of everybody created equally. But then when we look at how it's played out and how it is within whether it's our church communities, or whether it's in faith leadership, or even in the family, what are we promoting in that respect? What are we encouraging? And why is there a disconnect from, we say we hold this beautiful fact that God has created everybody and God has created people equally in dignity and worth, but in our relationships, we see the lack of it. So where's the disconnect? And that's what we want to touch on this morning as well. Why is that? Why is there a disconnect? Whether we come from the Christian faith or Hindu or Islamic or whatever spirituality we are carrying, we hold on to these beautiful values. But how does those beautiful values become lived and embodied in our relationships? And so that's what we do want to see. So thank you so much for that. So I'm thinking Seth is back on track with the slide deck, and I'm hoping we don't have any more gremlins. I know others have been experiencing some stuff on Zoom and issues. Let's hope and pray that everything works well now. Seth?
Yes,
Marisha?
I'm back.
Sorry, I hate to do this to you, but unfortunately, the gremlins are still on duty. So that black block on the side of the slide has returned.
Okay, yes, I do see that as well.
Is that still there?
Yeah, it is still there.
Yes. And now there's a smaller block on the top right as well. So they're not joined. There's still the same block on the right-hand corner, bottom corner, and then there's another little
Well,
patch on
there
the
shouldn't
top
be
right.
anything now, right, Anissa? Because I've taken it off completely.
Yeah, you've stopped sharing. Let's look at other options. I'll look at if I can share the slide deck. So in the meanwhile, Seth, maybe continue and let me see if I can move towards sharing the presentation.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you for your expectations and for putting at least some of what you had in the box. Let me draw in some of my faith perspectives, and I think it's important that as I share with you that I come from a Christian background, and I've been blessed to work in interfaith spaces, and so it's important for me to share that as I approach this work of faith perspectives concerning youth and positive gender norms, if we say it that way, or supporting youth in building positive gender norms and relationships, that this has been important for me. So I'll just copy and paste in the chat box so I don't have to struggle with the PowerPoint, and we can still send that to you. But this is a text that has been guiding for me, and maybe even as you thinking, there are people here from different faith perspectives. Like, what's a sacred text or a faith text that guides you? Because that's part of the topic
Sorry,
today.
sir.
Yes,
So when you're
Marisha?
sharing in the chat, please click share to everybody. So we haven't been able to see it, only the panelists. So if you click on to everyone, then they can see what you are sharing on the chat.
Okay, so sorry about that. There we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Good stuff. Is that there?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So please, I'll read my text because the topic again is faith perspectives, supporting youth in building positive gender norms. So when I thought about this in preparation of being with you all, I said, where's my faith perspective rooted? And when I think about my faith perspective, it's pretty much rooted in some of my sacred texts. And when I talk about the work that I do, how do I draw on my faith? Well, it's from my religious space and my understanding. And so this text that is read here, he has shown you, oh mortal people, humanity, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? Well, we can also say it as God has shown us, instead of being gender bias with God. Okay. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and love mercy and to walk humbly with God. And when I reflect on my journey, this is a central text around acting justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God as my faith grounding to the work that I do with youth and young people. And so I'd say to you that for many years I've served in the youth sector. I started out as a youth worker quite early. I was a peer youth worker in my teens, but more formally started doing youth work around the age of 19 with nonprofit organizations in arts, ministries, and one of the organizations I worked with allowed us an opportunity to be teams of diversity, utilizing the arts. And so in that way, working together with others who were not from my side of town, or people across the race divides in our country, people from other social class distinctions in South Africa, we got a chance to work together. So a lot of my own building in with being a where I work in churches as a minister. Before I even got to that as an ordained minister, I entered into the space of youth work and youth development through some amazing organizations that I've had the opportunity to work with. But this is a perspective where it's out of my textual kind of thinking around a text that is important to me, a prophetic text, Micah 6:8. And so thank you. We see Joseph Mafika, thank you for sharing about where you're at and what you do, Joseph. So if you do have, I'm kind of sharing that with you. This is my faith perspective as a Christian, a social justice Christian. What kind of thinking has brought you into the space, and how does your faith speak to what you do with young people? Okay, so if there is anything that you have with you, then you can please pop it into the box. Marisha, yours is also covered with some kind of. Oh, there we go. Yes. So please do. I see Ronald Williams, Ruth, Magrath, Neo. You welcome as well. Please pop it into the chat box. Thank you, Marisha, for sharing it off the PDF. And I hope that by the time I get to the videos, we've resolved the screen stuff. So yes, please share with me maybe a centered text or teaching that comes from your background when you think about faith perspectives in helping youth to formulate positive gender norms. Okay. And when I think about acting justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God, it is looking into my sacred text and then drawing out of it values. And so to the left side of that slide that Marisha has now, I put together a formula of some of the work that I do. And there you've got Walter Earl Fluker, where he kind of is a contemporary of Dr. Martin Luther King, but he took and did a lot of his work around ethical leadership, where we draw in our ethics and our values, and how ethics brings in critical reflection. And I built that into some of the work that I've done with Brene Brown when she talks about, living into your values, walking our talk, pathways to well-being. All right. And so that kind of sets up the formula there. And Susan Scott talking about fierce conversations, because part of the faith journey has called for me to have courage about doing this work with young people and teaching youth and young people. Garth Jaffet, in his own work with Heartlines, some of the work that I'm focusing on today as a founder, speaks about, yes, it's personal values, but we need to have a system of values that infiltrates systems. And a lot of the time, when we think about young people, there are unhealthy gender norms that have been taught. And so how do we formulate systems of values that help us relearn or re-educate or take a check on what we've learned? And then Morrison Tombeni, in some of the work that I do with him at Gibbs, he talks a lot about Ubuntu values and Ubuntu as a way of being and creating a system. I would utilize, in my faith perspective, a word called beloved community. All right. And so as I give this grounding, this is important for me to share with us that a lot of the work that I've done and have been able to draw in as a faith worker or faith leader working with young people is settled in this kind of a framework where I see my values, my faith-inspired values coming in to play, and how can I use my faith-inspired values to inform lasting impact. Marisha, if you can change the slide, please. And so to set this up, Marish, maybe if you can stop it, let me try and go to, because I've changed the slide. If I can ask to have some screen sharing, please, Melanie. I'll try again from my side. And then Anissa, you can just let me know in the chat box if it's showing up better. Maybe if I don't screen share right now, can you guys see the slide? If anyone can help me. I'm not fully playing the slide, but I've got the. Is that coming through okay, Marisha?
Yeah, we're still seeing that. So we're just gonna have to use it like that.
Is it okay like this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So here we go, and as I take you into this, this is how I want to capture this. Heartlines as an organization, I've been associated with them for many years, has been doing work with a campaign called Fathers Matter. And they too have utilized values as a faith-based organization and put it into a campaign. And this campaign has largely been focused on the active, positive presence of men and fathers for the well-being of children, men, women, families, and communities. And I've made it more inclusive in the lining up of this today, because ultimately there's a pebble in the pond kind of an effect. And so I've given it two hashtags, hashtag Fathers Matter, hashtag positive masculinity. And when they looked at this work, some of their research brought about this statistic. So tell me how you feel about this when you see this in action. Estimated at about 70%, 60 to 70% thereabout of children in South Africa grow up without a biological father present in the home. And the caption here that I'm giving us is children, youth, and the active positive presence of men and fathers. But in our context in South Africa, and this is also a global phenomenon where people can look at, if you'd like to call it, the reality of absent fathers. And here in South Africa, many children are growing up without their biological fathers. When I do work with young people at some getaways that we call like, youth retreats or youth camps, many of the times the young people that are in the room, out of 12 young people in this leadership journey that we're with them, about 6 to 8 of them are not with their dads, are not with their biological fathers. And there are risk factors that come into play. When we think about that, according to research, these are the risk factors when there isn't active positive presence of men in the lives of children and youth. And this is what we can reflect on. Well, being victims or perpetrators of violence, including GBV, or for some of us, we'd say SGBVF, okay? Another risk factor, drug and alcohol abuse, mental health disorders or mental health, teenage pregnancy, poor educational and economic outcomes. Let me focus today on one of the points, and this is coming from another conference I attended last week, where some of the stats of teenage pregnancy can be quite shocking and alarming. But unfortunately, the girl child gets named and shamed for being pregnant and not knowing where the donor of the seed is. And so the boy child continues with schooling. But there's a whole reality, social reality, disruptively so, when it comes to teenage pregnancy. I also know that my colleagues in the Department of Education shared with me that when we think about teenage pregnancy, we must also remember that not all of the teenage pregnancy factors are consensual intimate relationships. Some of it, unfortunately, has got to do with violation of the child or the teenager. And so these are realities that become apparent. And from our own journey with looking at this work of the active positive presence of men and fathers, when men and fathers are not active positive and present, this is the reality of the risk factors that face our communities. Let me pause right there. Is there anyone that's thinking with us? Apologies again for the technical glitches, but I hope Anissa and Marisha that slide came through. Let me ask if there's any kind of thought about this in your own experience. Thank you for your thumbs up. I appreciate that. And thank you for your kindness in understanding with the technical glitches. But a question to you, how does that sit with you as I just share a faith perspective in beginning and setting the tone? Looking at it from this perspective of a campaign that's been running on the active positive presence of men, are there any thoughts or questions or comments before I continue? Sam, are you there? How is it working in your context, in your space? Are you able to share with me? Or anyone else? Neil. Yes, Neil. Thank you. You saved me there from the silence, Neil.
Thank you, Sid. So I would like to comment from my personal experience with my dad and him being present in both my sister and my life. And I'm glad that you said positive presence, because a father could be present, but not have a very negative impact on the children and the environment in which they're raised. But what I saw from my dad and him not being like the normal men need to be harsh, men need to be hard, is that I learned from that men can be gentle, and not necessarily that when you see a man, you should expect that hardness from him. And I'm very glad and appreciative of the fact that he could be a very gentle father with us, not soft or whatever, but he could be a gentle man. And he still is a very gentle father, and that made me see, and I learned that what to expect basically from for myself and what to look for in a man, and not because when you experience certain things, you either run away from them or you search for them. So I'm very glad that I got to experience that, because I know what to look for and what not to expect. And what's this word? Not what to expect and is it expect and accept? Yeah, expect and accept. Sorry.
No
The tongue
worries, no
twister
worries, no
there.
worries. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So here we're
Thank
hearing, and thank you, Neo, because this is also helping in language. When we hear, you know, the that my father can be a gentle father.
Yes.
Okay, my father, because a lot of the time, and for those of you that are out here, we have concepts of men where men are, you know, painted as a strong man concept. And so we try to be. But think about it today, even as Neo shared, and thank you for that, Neo. The reality that men are looked upon in a certain way, and instead of them being active, positive, and present in light of who they can be, they have to put on a facade of this if you like, inflated strength. And sometimes that strength is not on the soft side of men being positioned in light of them being present for their children and the youth in their lives and their families in a positive way. In fact, some of the stereotypes that are out there is that, you know, the other day I was talking with doing another workshop, and one of the participants said, yes, men are known to be the ATM, right? And so there's the provision factor, but only the provision of money. And so when we look at this and we start working with this campaign around the active, positive presence of men as it relates to the well-being of youth and young people, can you imagine that this is important for children and youth to begin to start understanding that the men in their lives, the fathers in their lives, the men they are in contact with are more than just providing strength or providing cash. But can you imagine fathers understanding that they can provide care and love? They can get involved in working with their children, with doing homework with their children. So this is the kind of the work that is happening in this campaign, where we begin to think about, you know, how do we transform toxic understandings of masculinity, or toxic understandings of what it means to be a man and a male, or what it means to be a father. I'll share of some work that I did recently, and this was at a retreatment, a recovery center, where men are at this place because of addiction. And the one time I asked for permission of the participant, I said, you know, in a conversation around what I'm sharing with you, and long story short was that he hadn't had a hug from a man his whole life. He knew how to shake hands with a man, and I gave him a side hug and I asked for his permission. But the first time in his life that he considered, hey, wow. And why I'm sharing this with you, here he was in his kind of 30s, you know, having his own background. I mean, in South African terms, we'd still call him a youth, right? So these are some of the social constructs that are around men and how it impacts on men, and then also impacting on youth and young people. Okay. I see Sam's hand up. Yes, Sam.
Thank you, Saif. Well, it has been a while. Happy New Year, and thank you for giving this reflection. In the comment box, I had mentioned to say family order and morality. I think that is where we all center it, especially that we have seen that men are actually absent people or persons in a home, and hence what we have started doing as Zina realized to ensure that now we look at how do we have parent-child kind of support group where now parents and their children are able to have a linkage where we see why is it that some antenatal to postnatal until the child grows. There is a disconnect between the men and their children at home. And this is because of the overwhelming issues of saying we are the providers. Hence, we are leaving out the boy child, the girl child that is at the home, waiting to have a fatherly touch, the fatherly love, which now has brought a lot of issues. And these issues that are coming up now are issues of mental health issues. And we are now seeing that our children are now going into a very, very lucrative mode where they are now abusing alcohol, drugs, and so forth. Reason being is that we haven't used that opportunity as men to interact with our own children, and we haven't at any point used a faith space to go with your children to church and see them how is Sunday school working for them, how is the sacred text being interpreted to them. So the only way to a constant engagement with the men and their children, especially that this is one of the hot issues. And I've actually witnessed my friend being taken to the hands of rights activists for a child taking him to say, my grandmother left some for me.
Yes, thank you, Sam.
So
I'm losing you in between there. The sound is popping out, but thank you for sharing. And thank you for sharing in your context of the kind of work you all are doing there as well. But yes, creating opportunities for men to be actively, positively present and invested and involved in the soft stuff of life, which actually has a lot of impact. I see that there might be some things in the chat box there, so my colleagues Anissa and Marisha can call me out on maybe just bringing reference to that. But I also see another hand, Lebo Hang. Yes, is there a response from you or you'd like to share?
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Thanks.
Lebo Hang.
Thank you so much, Chair, for the opportunity. I just want to add on what the last speaker has said now. There's an important point that came into my mind when he spoke about the father's disconnection within the family. You see, us growing up, one knew that when you make a mistake in the family, during the day, I'm just making an example, my father will be at work, and then my mother will tell me straight, you know what, Joseph? I'm going to tell your father, when your father comes home, he's going to deal with you. So automatically in my mind, me knowing that my mother already told me that when my father, when he comes home, he's going to deal with me, I knew that I'm going to get the ID. So for me, being closer to my father, it was something, it was not there, because I just saw him having this title of the guy who just come in to discipline me whenever I make any mistakes. And that is a big thing that is happening in a lot of families, because the youth, the children are growing up being afraid of their fathers, not coming closer and sharing with their fathers. That is really an important factor. And also going deeper, from where I grew up, culture, it's also playing a big role, because when I grow up, culture will tell you a man doesn't cry. As a man, you must be strong. So us raising boy children, even though the child feels like, but this is too much for me, I need to cry, I need to seek for help. But just for the fact that my father will be saying, no, you are a man, you have to stand up, you can't be weak, you can't be like a woman. It's those stuff. So at the end of the day, a boy child will be growing up, bottling up all these troubles and struggles of him alone. At the end of the day, you will just see a child committing suicide without even knowing what is the problem. That's what I
Yes.
wanted to share. That is very important.
Thank you, Lewang, and thank you for sharing because those are some of the harsh realities that the children face, especially when parents, and this is not just about men, but if our parenting ways are not open to looking at more gender equitable ways of raising our kids. And this could even the kind of gender norms that I'm talking about here is like when you talk to a child, some people will have a big issue if a boy is playing with pots, but when the boy grows up, will he not cook, right? Colors, the gender norms around colors, if the boy likes wearing pink, and like we almost are absurdly worried about will this be a boy, will this be a girly girl? And I'm using it in these nuances, but that's the reality, that because of the way our society has been constructed, we are so scared about anything that strikes us as a little bit different. Okay. And so as a faith leader and faith worker, it's become important for us to look out for the well-being of youth and children. In some of the work that we do end up seeing boys who don't come across as masculine boys. Okay, we also see girls who don't come across as feminine girls. So this is the reality, and when we as faith workers can open up our minds to understanding how do we cater for them, and like Marisha said, to create a container of possibility and safety for the well-being of the children and the youth in our society, and not to be shoving almost socially constructed norms that are sometimes so unhealthy. All right, so I hope that that's landing with you all today. I want to take us now into just a movie viewing, and please, if my colleagues are with me, I'm going to need your assistance here, and I'll come back to the messaging. But for now, I want us to watch. Is the screen showing up okay, Marisha?
Yeah.
It's a movie called Manskap.
Little part
Say again?
blocked. There's a little part blocked, but I think when you play the movie, we still will be able to see most of it.
Okay, cool. So yes, so I'm gonna swap to movie viewing now. Please don't leave us. It's a short film. There's 45 of us on, and if you are on as you watch it, watch it and feel free to use your chat box. So as thoughts come up, so you make it an interactive viewing. Maybe there are some thoughts that may come up, and we'll have a discussion about it after this. But it's a movie called Manskap from a series of films within this campaign of Fathers Matter, where we talk about the active, positive presence of men. And so right now, I want to cross over to that, and may we have a good time. And I pray that the technical stuff will work well as well. So how's it showing up now, Marisha, when I go to full screen?
So we're still seeing that block at the side, but we can still see the movie. Maybe if you hide your controls, have you hidden your controls?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So friends, I hope this works well. Marisha, if there's any problems, I'm going to ask Marisha to please copy into the chat box a link for the film that we can take the next.
I will put the link on the chat now. So if someone wants to just take the 20 minutes, it's just a 20-minute film. You can go to that link and watch it on a better device. Even if you have one of those smart TVs, watch it there and then come back on. I mean, stay on Zoom, but you can still watch it at that link.
So let me just check with everyone. Are we good with that, friends? Are you happy to watch that now together? The Manskap film. Can I get thumbs up and that we'll return, because Neo is still coming up right after this, and don't disappear, right? So I'm going to cross over to the viewing right now of this movie Manskap, and if it plays well here, you're welcome to watch it here with us, and yes, may it all go well with our sharing of screen and so on. So here's the movie Manskap from the series of films linked to Fathers Matter.
Move like prime, I'm not Optimus tight synopsises drop when I level the score. Too crude from the tenement floor. Pause for thought as I draw from the heavenly lake. War awkward from enemy gate. So barefaced now, no air trace. My line is a vice of shooters. Hyper life movements, lines of light.
You know, Carl, you know what? If you spent half the amount of time that you do polishing this car on maybe your books or even finding a job, wouldn't that be wonderful?
This guy is my book, Ma.
Keegan, come boy, we have to go to church. You boys coming with me to service tonight?
I have a job tonight.
Yes, we have a job tonight.
I'm staying with Carl and Andrew.
Hey, Casey Baba, Keegan.
A job, huh? So the Roy again?
Yeah.
And what's the job this time?
It's just work stuff, man.
Work stuff. I really need to draw the line with that man.
I'm staying with Carl and Rosie. Church is boring.
Keegan, yes, the Baba.
Keegan, come. I'm not going to talk again. And take this thing off your head. Put this on. Come.
Auntie, before I forget.
No, but you've already paid for the month.
It's for a rainy day, Auntie.
Oh, she didn't have to, but...
Manskap, I have to go.
I'm coming with.
You can't come with. You already spoke about this.
Maybe I can wash Roy's car or something.
Yeah, okay, come.
Too many chat about levs, stop that. Too many chat about levs, stop that. Too many chat about levs, that stop that. LEVELS. Too many chat about levs, stop that. Too many chat about levs, stop that. Too many chat about levs, stop that.
I heard man when I chat and chit. I come through like what's good, these wigs get split. Man better breeze and sprint. It's long if I choose to bite down on these grips. Next is a Liverpool 4-4 and this, so make sure it's X that you want to rally rip. I'll make a big man.
Away, my guys. Fede.
Manskap, you late?
I'm here now, Mos.
Don't come smart with me, man.
Fide, my guys. Has Roy need any of the cars washed?
It's Roy for you, ne? And you late. Still came earlier.
I sat late.
Rosie, come. Follow me. Rosie, this is a straightforward job. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Don't mess this up, okay?
Are you not coming with?
Asa.
Dit is een twee-man job, die.
Ik wil smoke slaan.
Take your lightie.
Ik kan niet die lightie samen.
Nou, maar ik wil dan ook smoke slaan, bro. Joh.
Zo, you see? Come, go.
Wat?
Can't believe you forced to come with, ik say.
It's a straightforward job, you heard my guys, yo.
Doesn't mean it's not a dangerous job. Just be on the lookout.
Ik zeg, Raroy, I just got a call from Fingerman. I think we must just call Andrew back.
Like the luister. It's too late to turn back now, man. Los hy nou.
Maar Roy.
Hey man, los hy nou maar Jake. Laat die...
Even more, man!
scum.
Thank you, Aloha. Your tea?
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you.
No, thank you, Brother Warren. You know, I don't know what I would do without
anything.
you. I liked it.
Pastoor. Basta, Sandra.
Roy?
What to say, man? Andrew was like a son to me, man.
I don't want you anywhere near any one of my children.
Anything for those young ones. Thank you. There were my condolences.
Oh, your condolences van ek soek dit.
Sandra, asseblief. From way. Funerals cost. Nie van ook sê ek wil help, man. Huh? Basta. Ah, Keegan, my boy. Nah. Kijk, nah. Kan je? Wat is dit? I did that. I'm here for you, man. Brother, come. See ya. I got you this, right? Night.
I don't want that man near my children.
Who's a 50 for you? See you soon, love you, nah.
Love you.
Okay. Cal, you wanna walk me out?
Your car needs a push again.
You know classics.
It's not a classic, it's just old.
Kyle.
I grew up on carbs and petrol. I know classics.
No way this donkey's a classic.
Okay, fair enough, but I do have a classic ride, you know. I can show you if you want.
Maybe.
Okay, tell you what. Why don't you come for youth group this Friday? And once we're done, I will take you to the back and show you.
Church?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that, but...
Okay, at least think about it. I'm sorry about Andrew. But you can make different choices, you know.
Just be on the lookout, taxi.
It's not funny, Keegan.
I'm scared of a toy gun. When I work for Roy, I won't be scared like you.
Lose it, man.
Give me my gun back.
Where the hell did you get this gun, huh?
The money Roy gave me. Give it back.
Lose it.
Give it. Fine.
Who can tell me here in the Bible, who was the dreamer in the Old Testament? Who was the dreamer? What?
Joseph.
Joseph. Thank you, Michelle. She's the only one who knows. Neglected by his brothers. Terrible circumstances, but his dreams made him king. Kyle. I'm so glad you could be here. Come on in. Hey, guys, this is Kyle. So this is Sandra's son. I'm sure some of you guys know him from the community, huh? Want to take a seat?
No, man. I just came to find out about the transi.
No, we'll get to the car now, after this. Sit, man. Come on. Guys, welcome Kyle. Welcome him. There we go. Well go. There we go. There we go. All right. So, where were we? None of you knowing your Bible. That's where we were.
I'll believe it when I see it.
You don't believe me?
No, but I'm gonna believe you.
Ah, man. Why would I lie to you?
Bro, Warren, Don't lie to me. Don't.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Nah, you're not ready. You're not ready. Just... And... Voila! Do you like it?
No, bruh. Bro, Warren.
Well, maybe we can work on it together if you can. You know, working on this thing alone feels like I'm facing Goliath.
I've always wondered about that story, eh? A hard boy who brings down a giant.
It's a great story about courage, about faith, overcoming what seems impossible. Ik weet niet, het is ook een ping daar, het is ook een ping in de bed. Lekker. Hou het af en draai, af en grease. Nee? Alright, zo ga je niet af. Kom voor je zo. Rank voor mij uit 10. Uncle Win.
I won.
Zo like, Steve of something. Net één keer word al gedraaid. En ik was niet de slimste niet zo. Dus hoekom ik verstaan hoe de hel drijf jullie niet.
Right in the road rage for lane. A height in the beat.
Oh man, stop. Yeah, man, stop. You spam that script yet no, huh?
I'm just busy with the project.
So je hebt hem sebens.
Niks van nie.
Je kon boela ry nou maar wat ek jou van gewys het. Ook al se batus is klein groot, né? Fokkie na kom vir jou te step up nou. Huh?
Ja, ek hoor wat sê man.
Ja man.
Maar ek vang 'n nice man.
Daar sê man. Kom vir Sandra Kulida. DJ. Ek sê me vang man die chat, Jay. Get what you keep Jay. Yeah. And it's time to get your priorities in order, CNG. Verstaan je? We zal opvangen, ik en Jay.
Kyle, come give me a hand over here. Bring me those tools. And also sandpaper if you have there.
Ik kom. Dave.
Thanks, man. Just hold it here. So, what's your relationship with Roy?
My cousin used to work for him.
Ah, a lot of guys look up to Roy.
We just want a soft life. Roy's the ticket.
Okay. But at what cost?
Grant money is not enough to see us through, man. Not all of us are as lucky as David.
Who said anything about luck? David made a choice. He trusted God and God gave him the strength. Do you understand?
Mommy? Ma, I think I really love fixing cars, Ma.
You know what's funny, my boy? When you were a lighter, you used to love taking them apart.
Bro, Warren helped me find a college. Isizwe Technical. I think I should really look into it, Ma.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, yes, Ma, yeah.
Yeah, but the fees. It's just, I don't want to ask Roy for money. You know, it always comes at a cost.
I know. That's a dummy down fight. Bro, Warren, your transies was nagepast, die manskap. Your transies is customized to perfection.
If it wasn't for your help, it will still be a rat's mansion. Yeah, catch. I've got some stuff to do. I'm gonna leave her with you, okay? She needs a good polish. Spit shine.
That's it. Can you me? Yo. Check you one. This was now my first dream car. Huh?
Oh, yeah, Roy?
Yeah, Roy is a lady, man.
Ah, bro, Roy. Huh? Born Freeze will never understand.
Does it have a verpa sound?
Maybe that fake verpa sound or something.
Cancer. It's 100% verpa.
Yeah, it is 100%. Let me feel a sting.
No, man, it's
yeah, oh, J, man.
Bro, Warren's car.
Relax. Zet hem nog op.
No.
Ref. Yeah.
Oh, kita semua.
Yes, sati tanga small man. Kykie, this is now Roy Smart, Yanchi. Verstaan je? Nora je klaar gezegd bent, maybe you can come and you can come span for me, man. You see? Huh?
I'll think about it, man.
You think about it. You will like it. Or maybe I can just take my light, okay?
No, man, he's just a lighty.
Hey, wait, man. Give us, man, here, man. Huh? What's happening? What's sorry? Do you want to feel some more?
Mrs. Williams, I'm sure there must be a reasonable explanation.
Fixing up a gangster car and give it to Roy the biggest stuck of all to drive around.
Mrs. Williams? Sorry, what?
You know, it took many years to build up the reputation of this church.
Manskap. Auntie Williams, I thought you wanted to see me, man.
Did you give the car to Roy?
I can explain.
Answer my question.
He took the
How could you do that?
But I wasn't even gonna let me speak, man.
I thought you wanted something better for your life.
And I thought so too.
Well, maybe I wasted my time.
Maybe you did waste your time.
Skifty. Chok. Away.
Yes, Annie, kom hier zo. Kom hier zo, hé.
Jij.
Wat is die, hè? Wat maak je in die straat is laat? Je ma zoekt je daar bij je huis. Wat is in die tassen, hè?
Niks niet. Hands off.
What's this, huh?
Niks.
What is die?
Nothing.
Do you know what this stuff does to people?
Do you know what it did to people when you started?
Meneer Sterkman, kom wees hier nie. Luister vir my. You need to stop.
Oh, what?
Now.
Will you give me money? Do you even have any money?
Moenie kom spit hier nie, hè? Ga na huis toe. Ga na huis toe. En jy beter daar wees as ek by die huis kom, ek sê jou. Jy moet aan was.
Huh? He was. And then? Hello.
Philip, this is Kyle.
Ha, Kyle.
Listen, I'm in. But I will only do this job if my baby brother stops working for you.
Get a car by my gas. It's loaded.
Melati, no.
The last time I went on a job for Roy, my cousin got killed.
And Rosie was a great guy. But I warned the boss.
Warned the boss what?
See, the inside guy told me that we need to withdraw from this mission.
Wait. Roy knew. Yo, die gatas. My guys, die gatas.
Hey. Magagula. Roy's #1 enemy.
Oh, my mag mo sat maar ik kan niet, joh. Maar guys,
Melati, relax, Rex.
Ik kan niet bekostig nog, joh.
I know.
Out of the
Just
what to
chill.
do now.
Let me sort it out. Okay.
Papa number 5.
Hey, Melanie. Greetings, Melanie.
And where are you guys going?
We're just taking a bakkie for a quick drive.
It looks loaded. What's in there?
Nothing much. Just a few empties we want to go drop off.
Then in that case, you wouldn't mind if I have a look, right? Bingo.
Niet van mij. Van mij. What are you on by my yacht? Haha, my cooks. From Antonio Apache.
I need you to come
For
with me.
what?
Your boy Magaz. He's had a lot to tell me about you.
What is it? What did I do?
Cuff him.
Never. En my cooks, I will you be cuffing him. I'm stuck. Magaz, come on. I remember.
And don't worry about it, boy. No one will ever know that it was you.
What's going on? What happened? Kyle, what did you do? Answer me, Kyle. What did you do?
Yes?
I might have some information on Roy. Nothing. Except take down Goliath. I took down Roy, man. See you, sir.
And you know, I thought you were gonna be a papgat just like your father. But look at you. You did something, my boy.
And now? Why don't you come for youth anymore?
You accused me of something.
It's your right end. I'm sorry.
I thought you trusted me.
Your mother told me what you did. And I'm proud of you. That's why I wanted to give you this in person.
What's this?
Sold the car we were both working on. That's your share. Hmm?
I don't know what to say.
Well, if you still have those forms, you can now apply for that course. There's enough to cover for your first year.
Really?
Yeah, maybe we can open our own small operation. Have people come to us, service their cars. That way you can make money and pay for your fees.
I'm with that.
You
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
I sacrifice my life for this. Got a feeling they ain't liking this. I gotta move cautious. These losses, they'll take you out for them dirty dollars. Try to take me out, you gotta be smarter. Gotta work harder. Coming for the spot, my all want it. Still high off the marijuana. Blowing dope, boy, cause I want it. Smoke too much, it put me in the coma. Now I'm passing out. Bring the money up in large amount.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the movie viewing. Looks like we have most of us with us, 41 of us. Can I just see if you're still awake? I got some love signs, some hand claps coming through. Oh, lovely. Beautiful interactions. And that's the movie Manskap from a series of short films that have been created by Heartline's Fathers Matter. And it is an honor that we have access to these resources. And Marisha will speak a little bit about that later. As we go into, before we transition, this is important for us to reflect on. So I want to just ask you to consider, and maybe you want to hit the chat box with this, but these are some questions I put out by way of our learning. Is there anyone that does have a response and you'd like to say something? I see Edwina, your hand is up. I'm not sure if that's a technical hand or a digital hand that wants to say something. You're welcome to. But this is what I'm asking in the chat box for everybody. What caught your attention? You know, if something caught your attention, just hit it into the chat box right now, or an important point of learning as we think about faith perspectives and helping youth and young people build healthy gender norms, right? I was thinking today about the role of the church. It popped up in there. And the one auntie coming there when Roy is busy working with the young men in the film. And then she says this. I remember some years ago running a choir at church. And one of the adults at church was more irritated by the young people chewing gum. Instead of having this, being blessed by 100 young people committed to using their voices, singing at church, and made a loud, comment about it. And that hurt this young person so much. So sometimes the voice of faith organizations and faith leaders can be hurtful. And we know that when it comes to gender justice issues, we in the faith sector must stand up and be counted and not be complicit with gender-based violence. All right. So yes, what caught your attention? What critical insights are we reflecting on in light of supporting youth to build positive gender norms? What might have popped in there? And what is a message that we must remember to share with leaders and people working with youth? All right. And I hope you saw this whole connection of mentorship between Roy as a teacher, but also a person involved in the church. All right. I see there's some responses. The movie shows the current reality. Thank you, Kameshri, for your response. The pastor took on a role as a father for this boy. Yes, and that's a key insight. Some of the work, some of us may call it mentors, coaching, in the work of working around the active, positive presence of men and fathers. We talk about it as social fathering, or coaching or mentoring. So that's important. Who are the people that are filling in the gaps in a society where there is so much absence, so much absence of active, positive, present men and fathers? Who's filling those gaps? Washifa, thank you. Washifa says, parenting roles and community influence, including the role of religious leaders engaging the youth. Yes, that's something that caught our attention. Rahab Khabo, I learned about the importance of having a mentor. Wow. This is a key part of working with youth and young people. And I think, this is where, we miss the angle. In my own journey, I remember while I had my dad, who was a good father, but with life being busy, he never had a chance to be with us around sport during the week. But there was Uncle Shamim Ali who filled that gap. He used to come home earlier from work. He was our coach at soccer. And this was Uncle Shamim Ali of a different faith. Yeah, I am Christian. He carried with him the faith of being Muslim, but in my community was a trusted male, a trusted dad who was able to coach us and teach us about the game. But not only was he a good coach about football, he was also a good man. So who's filling that gap? Whether your father's present or not present, whether your father is active or inactive, but who's helping us along? Who's being the mentors and coaches? The positive impact the male mentor has had on the boy, and how this has shown him an alternative to the otherwise harmful and violent existence. Yeah, so who will be those that will step forward and come alongside youth and children? As I think about it, I also want to raise a question, maybe for today, around the role of the mom. As she has an important role in the film as well. Kyle finds himself dealing with Roy and Roy's presence, but the mom seemed to have she even said at one time, I don't want to talk to Roy. It was like there was an access point to a negative influence. And so whether it's the mom or the father, but the reality is that we need to have adulting folk that are going to come alongside youth and young people and be champions for their well-being, and not be those people that within our faith spaces are going to break the potential of young people. Now, this is an important one for me to say, and then I think, Marisha, because of time, I'm going to hand back to you or to Anissa. When we think about the active, positive presence of men and fathers in light of youth and young people, it's not only men that we need to talk to. We also need to have conversations with women. We have to have conversations with boys and girls. We have to have conversations with elders. Because some of the social norms, in the way that we've learned it, we kind of become people of terror, communities of terror for the way that young people form their thoughts and their thinking. And if we don't think about how do we shift our mindset when it comes to the unhealthy gender norms, then we are really painting a picture that makes it more negative for our future. And so it does take courage for those of us that are in the faith space to step on up and to utilize our learning and our thinking and our critical analysis and awareness to bring about a new day in light of building healthy gender norms, okay? Especially when working with youth and young people. Nivedita, I hope I got it right. Dayanand. Yes, I know some other Dayanands. Please, your hand is up. You're welcome to unmute. And then if I can ask Anissa and Marisha, maybe they'll come back onto a camera so I know that they're ready. Okay, I see that hand went down again. I don't think the pastor listened to the boy who regarded him as his mentor after Roy took the car. Yes, we saw again that disappointment of them making prejudgments on this young boy. So yes, I'm hopeful today that this is helpful to you. I see Sam blessing male roles, fatherhood, dysfunctional youth, junkism, parenting to curb behaviors, linked GBV, HIV, and youth crime. So yes, the movie Manska points out to what's happening in the context of our realities. I think it's not like a South African Bollywood, Hollywood phenomenon. These are real issues that actually take place. Gangsterism, violence. If I think about the Western Cape right now, one of my colleagues, Reverend Dr. McMaster, is working currently in the Cape Flats of addressing youth and young people of the risks that they face because drugs, alcohol, gangsterism is more accessible than any other opportunities for young people. And so, another priest friend of mine, Reverend Edward Addison, says, if the church is not busy making positive opportunities for young people, or if the faith leaders are not busy, then others will take that gap. They'll abhor the gap. They will fill in the gap. They will filter that gap. And this is what's happening. If we are not creating programs, creating opportunities, creating learning spaces for youth and young people, this is where we're messing up on them. Lastly, as I see Anissa is ready to take the convening, my daughter wrote a piece and she's currently doing a vocational time of learning and service in the south of France. She's a young adult, so she's a youth, but a young adult turning 19. And she was reflecting on, just the reality that if you're asking who are the leaders for tomorrow, and she comes out in her writing and saying, but we are here. She says, if you give young people the opportunity to learn and to take action and to actually be, involved and invested, they can lead. They can do amazing and wonderful, efforts and lead initiatives. So always remember that youth and young people have potential. And I think what's amazing about it is when we work with them, to curb the reality of gender injustice and GBV, if we're working with youth and children and young people from an early get-go kind of age, we're able to get them thinking in a way. I mean, I only made some of my awakenings when I was 19 and 20. I'm still unlearning some of the things that I learned. And I think that's important for us as well as faith leaders, so that we can look to our God consciousness and say, God, what is it that you are calling us to be aware of, unusually aware of, so that we may do better in light of our youth and young people? Thank you. Over to you, Anissa.
Thank you so much for those insights, Seth. Yes, the movie sparked quite a few thoughts and emotions. I'm just going to round up. I think there's a couple of participants who put something in the chat, which I think, kind of captures. Kyle Elate is saying that Kyle demonstrated resilience. The movie is a true reflection of the fact that we all need someone to light us up when our lights seem dim, because he gained a sense of hope through faith and support. And I think that, especially working in the abuse, in the gender-based violence sectors, we know that domestic violence, sexual abuse, child abuse, femicide, all of those are very, very real parts of society. Victims are so many. And that's what they need. They need someone to support, someone to listen. And religious leaders are often the people that are most influential when people are going through hard times, right? And family as well. And then I think this is what the session is about, is that how do our support systems play a role, not just in our healing and in our support, but also how do they influence our thinking and our life choices and our decisions and our actions and our perceptions and our behavior. So yes, I think this movie does speak to a lot of things. Thank you, Seth. Then Portia says this movie is a true reflection of life in the Cape Flats. Poverty makes them see that it's easier to become a gangster with quick money, whereas true ways out is education and faith. Sorry, I think, I don't know, is everybody getting an echo from me?
No, not on
Linda
my
is saying there's a
side.
bad echo. I don't know. Not. Okay, so we're going to proceed on the next item of our program. So those of us who stuck around long enough, I just want to see there's one hand. Uh, Mafungwazi. Mafungwazi, before we continue, would you like to unmute and share or ask? Okay, you're free again to put something in the chat box if you need to. Okay, so we've got Neo who is going to join us now. I'm going to introduce you to Neo because it's quite a I'm quite looking forward to this item on the program. It's a yoga and well-being for youth and young people. So Neo is a yoga practitioner, founder and face of Yoga with Neo. Um, and Neo is passionate about child development, social issues, and yoga, and have combined these variants to serve one another, using yoga not only as a workout, but as a health and holistic wellness practice in science of the body, mind, and emotional regulation, and addressing social issues. Taking the practice as a preventative, restorative, recovery, and physical therapy. So, yes. Developing resilience, strengthening, healing. We're all looking to find methods to cope. And yes, to incorporate different techniques and approaches is a great thing. So Neo, welcome to our session this morning, and I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you, Anissa. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. And I'm very appreciative of the opportunity and allowing me to be in your space and to share my work and a lot of what I've been doing. And yeah.
So welcome again. We are especially grateful for you with us this morning, and thank you, Seth and Marisha, for introducing you to this platform. And I'm hoping that you're going to be an ongoing either presenter or participant in our sessions.
Will do. Anissa, I think you're breaking up a bit.
Good. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, but over to you, Neo. I don't know. It seems like this morning we're having a lot of technical issues. But I am hoping that the participants are enjoying the program anyway.
Okay. So I've already been introduced, but my name is Neo Gift Moya, and as Anissa has said, I'm a yoga practitioner, and I've been incorporating yoga into social issues and helping young people, youth, and pre-teens and teenage girls and boys to deal with their emotions, emotional regulations, their thoughts, and knowing how to basically develop a wellness for themselves and regulate themselves, and not like knowing how to channel their emotions and their thoughts in a better and a healthy manner instead of lashing out or looking for other outlets that are unhealthy, because we see that even from the video that we just saw, that there's a lot of access and information that is accessible to these kids. And not only is it readily and easily available, but it's also available in access. And if they don't know what to do with the information that they're getting or what the information is, then they receive it, but then they act it out in ways that are not good and maybe negatively for themselves and for their peers and the community and their family at large. So what I do is I work with organizations that help deal with social issues and child development and helping in incorporating yoga, and not only that, but breath work and movement, basically, so that particularly yoga, because it delves much into the emotions, the spiritual and the body, and not necessarily only about the body and wellness and physical wellness, but also emotional wellness, psychological wellness, and spiritual wellness, holistic wellness in essence. So that's what I basically do. And because if with, like I said, with all this information that they have access to, it's easy for them to be influenced negatively and for these things to have an impact on them. And also with school, there's so much work that they're doing with no rest. And because now you find that at 13 years or 12 years, because when I was going to school, when I was still in high school, the matriculants were the ones who went to school like 7 days a week, or who went to school like 6 days a week. But now you find that a grade 6-year-old, sorry, grade 6 year, grade 6 year, not even grade, pardon me, grade 6 learner is attending school 7 days a week. Or if they're not attending school, there is multitudes of homework and projects and tasks that they need to do. And because there's no rest, the brain is always stimulated. The brain is always in flight or fight mode, and they don't have time to regulate themselves, and they don't even know how to regulate themselves. And we find that by the age they're 15, they're so tired because of these sensory overloads. It's pressures from home, expectations for themselves, expectations from school, dealing with their peers, the influences from the outside world, social media, the things that they're learning online that they have no idea how to deal with, or even what the information they're looking for is. So if they're not taught from an early age the things that are going to happen to them, like the things that they're going to experience, like we have to wait for, when I was in school, we had puberty was taught to us when I was, I think, grade 7. So by then, for some, it comes early. And if we're not taught these things, maybe from home, maybe because of lack of information as well, we that thing of expecting schools to be the place and the environment that teaches us these things. When we are not taught these things earlier, we experience them, but we don't know them because we're waiting for the syllabus. At school, we wait for syllabus. If we haven't gotten to that point yet of learning that part of the syllabus, then we don't know what we're dealing with. Like Marisha also mentioned, puberty, adolescence, these things happen early for some people. So if you're going to wait for 13 years to explain it to a young boy or a young girl that your body is about to change, and these changes are going to affect you in ways that you don't know. And sometimes you don't even know that you're reacting to the changes that are happening in your body. There's hormonal things happening in your body, changes and energy changes, imbalances of hormones, because there's a shift that is happening in you and in your system that is introducing itself to you. And if you don't know, and if you haven't learned about these things, or at least been enlightened for you to say, okay, someone once mentioned that my body is going to go through some sort of transition at a certain age, so I should expect such things from this age. So if it happens with girls, menstrual cycles, they don't know what to expect, and for them it's a shame and it's a stigma. And even in school, boys joke around about it. It's an embarrassment, and boys need to be taught about these things as well, that girls go through these things, and these changes bring about certain things in their bodies. Much like with you, puberty brings changes to certain parts of you and to certain things in you. And it should be a normal thing that is practiced and that is spoken about. And I know that most parents think, if I'm speaking about it, then I'm giving them permission to have access to these things. But it's better. I always say that I think it's better if someone or a child hears information from their parent, from their safety net, rather than hearing it from someone, because you don't know who's going to teach your child, what they're going to teach them, and how they're going to teach them. So rather you nip this thing in the bud and speak to your child as early as possible about these things, so that they know that once Roy teaches them about such things, they know that, no, my mom has already spoken to me about these things. She's told me that, or my father, they've told me that I'm going to experience changes, and you're not going to lie to me and say that these changes mean that I am a woman and that I'm ready to be in relations with you, or that as a boy, an elderly, a girl, a lady, a woman lying to a boy and saying these changes mean that you are ready now, and this has brought you into manhood, and this means that you are ready for certain relations with a woman. So if we nip these things as early as possible and teach them in a safe and healthy environment, it's better for them to hear it from you rather than to hear it from someone else, a neighbor who's always lurking, because we have predators lurking and who are ready to teach our kids these things. And if we don't teach them, then someone else can teach them, and you're not going to like how they're going to teach them and the results of the influence of those teachings. And you find that some of them, even in schools, there's this local school in my area where kids are from 13, because in local schools, kids go to high school at the age of 13. So at the age of 13, they're already experimenting with alcohol, substances. And when you go past the or drive past the school, you'll think they're buying snacks. You find them logging and hogging the fences of the school. You think they're buying snacks, and you're like, okay, but they're not buying snacks. They're actually buying substances. And you see, that's how readily and easily available these things are in school, on school premises. But I've seen that they now, like, those vendors are not there anymore, but still they have access to it, and they know who to get it from, or someone who knows someone, and from who they can get it. And we've actually we've had firsthand experience of the results of this behavior. And because in our neighborhood there's someone like that, but they reported to the police. The very next day they're back into the community again, and the cycle is continual. It's always perpetuated. When they're coming down the streets, oh my god, you think it's a mob. You would be afraid to go outside, or for you to be walking in the same direction as them, or for you to be approaching them because you're scared for your life and you're wondering, oh my God, am I going to be attacked? Because that's how many of them would come down the street to get substances from this neighbor. And you're wondering, you have a child, you are old enough to be some of these children's father, and yet they are coming to you for substances, and you don't know how to even deal with this, or how to even approach this thing. Because when you approach the parents, especially in local communities and townships, when you approach parents about the behavior and the mannerisms of their children, you should be ready to receive not so positive responses, because not only are they in denial, or if they know about it, it's a matter of, what am I going to do? And with the increase in numbers, I think statistics make it, yes, they're high, but I think they tend to normalize these things. Oh, it's just another number, but it's not. You find that with us being in this session right now, most of us, if not all of us, know someone who's within that number. We know someone who's that particular number, and it's not just numbers. And with that increasing, you should think of it as, okay, that number is not just a number, it's so and so. In addition to that, it's so and so. They have added to that number. And I last week Friday, I was at youth fun and games day, and I saw this girl. I think she was about 15, and she was vaping, and I found myself thinking, have you really gotten to that point where it's gotten to that normal, that, not to say that it's better if it happens in secret. No, it shouldn't be happening at all. But unfortunately, these are the realities that we live with. But back in the days, you would know of it, but it wouldn't be so prominent, or it wouldn't be so prevalent. But now it's so public, and it's so disrespectful, and everyone is nonchalant about it, and you wonder, where are we going in our communities, in our society, this country? Where is it going? I know it's not all gloom and bad, but the reality is, majority of these things are happening, and they like, they're not dealt with. And this leads to, particularly with the unemployment rate of the youth, this is going to lead to the increase of the numbers. Because if we have this many dropouts because of substance abuse, because of some sort of influence or peer pressure, then we're going to have a continual increase of unemployment in our country. And when they come to school readily unemployable, because they are not, like, they don't meet the requirements. Even matric is not even a prerequisite anymore. A degree is not even a prerequisite anymore. You have to have something with that degree. And and also with boys, there's when it comes to when December comes, when we were growing up, it was already happening that in December, instead of being joyous and merry and happy that it's festive season, we would worry that there would be people coming to abduct us and taking us to initiation school. And now it's no longer a thing of tradition and culture. It's a norm. You have to go to initiation school, whether you like it or not. If you're not going to go willingly, they're going to take you, come report to your parents that you have gone to initiation school, and then your parents have to pay for you to be released. And I'm like, does that even make sense? You're going to abduct me, take me from my home, and then come to my parents and tell them that they have to pay you a fee for my release. And the cops, they can't do anything. I don't know if they can't or if they're not willing. I'm not sure what the problem is. And it's a constant battle of what is grabbing these kids. There's a constant vying of their attention. Like we are in battle for their attention, the influence, positive influence in their lives, battling who's influencing them in a negative way and who's influencing them in a positive way. And most of the time, unfortunately, the negative influence is always the one that wins and always the one that grabs them early, because they start them very early to influence them, try and plant the seeds of this is cool, if you do this you belong. And because we grow up it's human nature to have a sense of belonging, that grabs them very early. And then once you notice these changes, it's either too late or they're not willing to get out of this thing because of those power dynamics, whether financially, influentially, those sort of things. And it's also like the stressors, there are a lot, like influences, stressors and pressures, and the things that I've mentioned, they culminate into these things that are problematic and that form like social issues, and that we need to tackle, and that I try, at least when I'm working with these organizations and these programs, to deal with and to tackle. But like it makes it easier when you are in that sort of setting, because you're already speaking about these things, to then bring in my practice of yoga and say, okay, I hear that you have a lot of things going on and you don't know how to regulate them. You don't know what you're going through, how to deal with what you're going through. I can't promise that it will heal everything or it will help overall everything, but I can at least give you the tools that have worked for me and that have helped me sustain my, like, become a self-sufficient person. Because if you don't know how to regulate your feelings, or if you don't know how to regulate your thoughts and how not just to have an outburst every time you're frustrated, then you're going to have issues. And it's not always going to be, you're not always going to be in a place or a space where that is appreciated or that is tolerated. You'll find yourself in a space where someone retaliates because you spoke to them in or acted in a very negative way towards them, or you were trying to deal with something, or trying to deal with something, and it ended up being reflected to them as sort of like an attack or something offensive. So it's not always going to be tolerated, or not everyone is going to be patient with you or the behavior that you're showing, whether towards them or around them. And those are just the things that I see and that I've experienced in my neighborhood. And those are some things that I try to work with, and particularly with the local library and the Department of Social Development, and other organizations as well that I've worked with, that deal with or at least try to help young boys and girls. And I think Marisha, should I go into the session already?
Yes, I think that will be helpful if you take us through an example of yoga or breathing exercise so we can learn that. Thank you so much, Neo. Maybe there's questions firstly for Neo.
Okay, but if they're going to be in the chat box, it's going to be a problem because remember I said I'm having issues with viewing.
Yeah, we can help you with the chat box, Neo.
Okay.
If people do
Anissa
have.
can, I'm sure, can read it out for you if
Yes.
there is. Or if
No
people could
problem.
unmute.
Can I also add something before they I was also going to talk about with social media and technology with kids and having access to technology at such an early age. You find it even in churches where my mom is always complaining about kids who are in church and like in the church service, but they're not really there because they're always on their phones. And when you ask their parents, they say, "Oh my, no, this is the best way they can be still, and you know, this is the best way for them to sit still and not be disruptive." But they came to church, so if you're going to give them something that takes them away from the service and that takes them away from this connection that we saw in the video, it defeats the purpose of them being in church in the first place, because the reason to be in church is for to commune and to fellowship and to receive the word and to just be in the presence of God and your community and congregants. But now if they're there on their phones playing video games, sometimes it's violent video games. It's that thing that feeds into their brains, that plants that seed of violence and aggression in them, and you don't even know that where does this child get this aggression and this anger from. It's from the access that we parents give them. It's from the information that they have, and sometimes it's on our phones, because if they don't have their own cell phones, which I don't understand why a 6-year-old would have their own cell phone, but anyway, if they it's on their parents' phones, they're installed on your phone. These games are on your phone, and you're saying no, it's the only way that they can pay attention to what? What are they paying attention to? That's something we should think of. You're saying it's the only way they can be still and they're not disruptive, but what are you disturbing in them by allowing such things? By permitting such things and giving access to these things, because it's not just video games. It's a channel that goes into them. It's a seed that is planted and it's going to sprout and it's going to show up in some shape or form. And with, unfortunately, the behavior is not always visible or projected at home. It's projected in school. This is where we find kids bullying each other, fighting in high school, even in primary school, grade 7s, grade 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds beating their elders. And it's from these things that we allow and that we are not monitoring for the sake
Yeah,
of
we have a comment here from Nivedita Dayanand. And maybe that will also take us to the transition into the practical space of what you're going to share with us. But this is what she said. I totally agree. The reduced concentration and attention is so visible. It impacts on education as kids are unable to read and comprehend as before. Mental health is impacted on, and this often results in anxiety, stress, and mood conditions in children. The reduced physical activity also contributes to poor physical health. So yes, as Neo is sharing, part of what she does as a yoga instructor is take young people and take her clients on a journey of healing, through a yoga work. So over to you, Neo, for some practical, and then I guess we over to Marisha after that.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do, because we're seated, and I'm just gonna do a few minutes of breath work. So if we could all get comfortable, sit properly on your chair or wherever you're positioned, as long as you're comfortable. And if you want, you could close your eyes so that this is more relaxing for you. And recently, what I was teaching in my last sessions was we were all born with the normal and correct way of breathing, but when because of the stressors and shocked, and also because our nerves are shock absorbent, they grab onto that shock, and then when you try to breathe the normal way again, it's like that resistance of no, I'm not gonna go there. So then we stay there for most of our lives thinking we're breathing, but our breathing pattern has been altered because of the shock that we experienced and that we stayed in that shock state. So if you could close your eyes and actually be present and indulge yourself in this moment. And what we're going to do is think of your lungs as a balloon. And so when you're breathing in, you're thinking of inflating the balloon, actually breathing in to the full capacity of your lungs, because that's what they were made for. You shouldn't shorten the breath or hold it for not breathing or breathing in intervals. No, breathe fully into the lungs. And then when you exhale, you think of deflating the balloon. So maybe we could do 5 seconds of breathing in, like that long. We breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 4, and then breathe out, exhale for 3 seconds. So I'm going to start us into that session with our eyes closed. We breathe in for 5 long breaths. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale through the mouth for 3, 2, 1. So what I normally do is I told the last session of elderly people that was training that I said we should use our breath as a tracker, because our body is always trying to give signals to our mind that something is wrong. But if you don't know the signals, because I was watching a video, so let me just give a practical. I was watching a video on YouTube where this girl, she did a peace sign in one of the, I can't remember the country, but it's in Europe. She did a peace sign. Now, where she's from, the peace sign is for peace. But in that country, the peace sign is signaling terrorism. So if you're signaling your body to say, if you don't know the signal that your body is giving off, you can't detect whether it's a peace sign or it's a danger sign. So you're always thinking that, oh, you never know even if your body is at rest or if it's in stillness, because we are always stimulated. So breath work and breathing properly brings us into that state of calming us down and reducing the sensory overload that we're always bombarded with, and that and what our brain is stimulated, like it reduces the stimulus of the brain and just calms the nerves. So where there's tension or where you feel that sharp pain, I normally say that's where I breathe in and then hold. But because for the muscles and the nerves, because if they've gotten used to being so constricted and in a bound state, if you're going to force them to breathe to a capacity now that they haven't gotten used to for a long time, it's going to be a problem. So I say take it easy. And if you feel that sharp pain wherever, whether it's in your heart, in the back, the head, you go there, like actually take your mind to that place or your heart, wherever the stimulus is, and then you try to breathe in to that so that you get past that sharp pain or past that sensation. So yeah, when you feel it, you try to breathe in, and actually it's like you're grabbing onto it. So you envelope it in the breath, and then when you release, you do it a few times, and then once you've done it, you actually feel it. Okay, so I've actually gone past it, because normally what we do is that when you feel that sharp pain, you actually withdraw from it, and you no longer want to breathe in fully anymore, because it actually awakens that sensation and that sharp feeling. So when you feel it, you breathe into it, and then you hold for a few seconds, and then you release.
So let's do
And
that
so
together practically, Neo. Yeah, you
we
lead
can
me
do
and I'll
it.
breathe. So I'm your student, and everybody, let's do this together.
Thank you, Steph. So
Let's
we're
go.
going to breathe in for 5 seconds. Breathe in, fill in the balloon. Actually, see yourself filling
4,
in the balloon.
3, 2,
1,
1.
and yes, exhale. And then we breathe in again for 5, 4,
4, 3,
2,
2, 1.
1, and release. So we actually have to do like a slow release. Like maybe if we inhale for 5, we can exhale for 3 seconds. Yes.
3.
Yes. And then if you want
1, 2, 3.
yes, and then once you've inhaled, you hold it for a few seconds, and then you release.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you.
Neo, thank you so much. Let's give Neo a round of applause, everybody. And I hopefully, and I know it's not easy doing yoga online with all the windows not looking at you, because instruction makes it a lot easier. So come on, let's show Neo some love, everyone. And Neo, please put in the chat box your details for people to contact you as well, if you're interested in bringing in youth, young people, maybe community folk into a space of yoga that could be used for the well-being of youth and children, and for people at large. Okay, Neo, so shall we hand over to Marisha at this time? Marisha?
Can I ask Marisha to put in my details, because I can't send or see messages in my
Okay,
chat?
we'll do that in the chat box.
Okay.
Yes. Anissa, are you there before we go to Marisha? Do you want to take it back? Thank you again, Neo.
I certainly am still here. Thank you, Neo, for joining us. Like I said earlier, I really hope that you're going to be joining us again. I think looking and reflecting at the program, we've gone into quite an interactive session. I know people were struggling at the beginning to share, but I can see that the chat box filled up. We managed to get people to talk about or ask or share. We've been through an interesting video that highlighted a few key messages. And thank you, Neo, for sharing your insights with youth, about youth, and also sharing a nice tool, valuable one, skill that we all need. Yes, we all breathe every day, but we don't know if we're breathing properly. We take it for granted. It's become an extremely, we spoke about trauma and survivors, and we spoke about support. We also need coping mechanisms, and breathing techniques are a good way to bring in coping mechanisms into day-to-day practices. Okay, so with that having been said, we're going to move on to the next item. Hot topics with young people, and this is an important section because I think it's like kind of a build-up, but we're looking at gender, boundaries, and consent. Like I said, a very important section. And we're also going to be covering some of the myths that are associated with gender, particularly, and around boundaries and consent. So I'm going to hand you over to Marisha, who's going to take you through that section. Thank you, Marisha.
Thank you, Anissa, and thank you, Neo, for that. As you were talking, I was resonating with so many of the different examples you were giving with the teenagers, because I live in a house with 3 teenagers and a preteen who thinks he's already a teenager, and then also other big change of life, premenopausal issues. So lots of different hormonal stuff going on in my household. And, they say for women at this age, it's like a whole another journey of the puberty stuff, and even for men when they're in their midlife. So it's a lot of things that we need to contain and hold and regulate. And so the breathing stuff you offered, and just yoga and some of the other things that we need to do is very important. So thank you for that. So as we go into looking at gender, consent, and boundaries, and just talking about some of the myths that hopefully you will share with from your own communities, what those are, I would like for us to firstly just have a little bit of a deeper understanding on what gender is, because we use the term gender very often: gender-based violence, gender injustice, gender roles, gender dynamics. And here's something just to offer us to think about, that when we use the word gender, it's really a socially constructed term, but also how we experience it. It's what we socially construct in our faith communities, in parenting, in socialization, and then we attach meanings to what it means to be a real boy, a real girl, or what sometimes we don't even consider as, different genders or other genders. So sometimes those are neglected, even in faith communities, whether it's talking about people who are trans or intersex. So there's different terms and terminologies that come up when we're talking about gender. And what often it includes is, the correct behaviors, what people will deem, what are the correct behaviors and appropriate roles that we should have, whether you're a man or woman, in the home and in work and in the public life. And then how we express emotions, how we express our sexuality and our preferences. And then to understand gender is not the same as sex and biology. So often at times when we think about, male, female, or about when you have to fill out forms, sex is often male or female. We also know that there are intersex persons. We know that it's not often as we think as either or. A lot of things contribute to some of the dynamics of male or female or intersex, from our biology to, again, our hormones, which play a big role, and many of us are experiencing that now. And then our neurobiology, our mind, and how that also impacts the dynamics of sex, and then as well as gender. And so for us to try and understand it in that way. And then to also understand, when we say gender and when we say gender-based violence, we're not just talking about women, we are talking about all people. And so it's, Seth, I'm still not able to see the slides because of the spaces, so let me just look on my own device. And so when we're talking about it, to consider that this term of gender, which is socially constructed, it really impacts us all. So it's about both men and women, both boys and girls, and also the continuum of what gender is and how it impacts that continuum of the gender continuum, whether you're saying you're male, female, in between, however we describe our gender identities. And it takes all of us working within this to be able to have a more gender just or gender equality. So not only women having to speak up and make changes, but so too for men, or so too for anybody else that is in marginalized groups and where we find ourselves. So hopefully that makes sense. If there's still questions or things that you are thinking about, then please do put it on the chat. I know in our faith spaces, we have been trained in many faith spaces to think about it as, this is what boys are supposed to be and how they are supposed to act, and this is what girls are supposed to do and how they are supposed to act, and this is the roles that they need to fulfill. And we've been socialized from a young child, and we use often our scriptures to do that, to help us in what are the values and roles. But what's important is that we take a step back and see how beneficial has that been for us. What are the positive values that we've got from that? That has brought us to a space of thinking about equality when it comes to gender equality, and what are the ways in which it's been harmful? And then for us to reassess, the harmful ones, how do we transform that? Or how do we let go of that? And how do we include and move to a space of having the positive values that come to us from our faith spaces? And then if we move, so let me move to sharing. I am not going to be able to share. Seth, if you could just work out the slides when it comes to the video so that we can share it there, that will be helpful. So another important part of it is when we are talking about the roles, this is one of the most important things, is the issue of power, of control, and inequality. And to really assess some of our beliefs from faith, from sacred texts, when we are sharing what it means to be a man or a woman or a boy or a girl, is that laden with issues of power, of control, and inequality? So we're always mirroring it and checking it against that. Is this role that I'm asking a man to be like, is it exerting power over somebody, or is it one that is bringing equality? Is it making them be more in control of somebody else or more in control of themselves and putting down someone else? So that's important to think about. So here are some examples of what some would say are harmful traditional gender roles. Now, let me know in your community. I'm just going to leave it open. Have a moment to look at it. I'll read through some of it, and you can tell me whether this is common in your communities, in your faith culture and cultures, how it works. So cooking,
Maybe you
women
can zoom
are,
in a bit for us, Marisha, so we
okay,
can
let
see
me
the
do
picture
that.
more. Thank you.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, there is. Thank you.
Okay. So think about cooking and caretaking. Traditionally, those are roles that women are set to do. Men need to be fed, children need to be cared for by women. Working men traditionally are, were seen as they must be working outside of the house, and women were homemakers. Now, in my family, I think if I think about it, I am the first generation that has a woman working outside the house, as having a job. Now, for many traditional spaces, a woman were needing to stay at home. Though if I look back in apartheid, with the experiences of poverty. For example, my granny was a domestic worker because she had to work because her husband wasn't around. So there's different things to that, but how does the gender roles, how about dressing? What's appropriate for a man to wear? What's appropriate for a woman to wear? And if a man dresses against that, oh, he's not dressed properly. If a woman is dressed in that way, she's not dressed properly. How about childhood? We talked about this earlier. Boys must wear blue and must play soccer and outside and with cars, and girls must be handed dolls and cooking stuff. Girls mustn't be climbing trees and they mustn't be outside doing some of those things. So these are just some things of how people have been taught. What about marriage? A man must provide and a woman must nurture. Marriage is also seen as, the girl moves from being taken care of her father by her father to now being taken care of by her husband. The dating, some of the gender norms there. The man should pay for the meal, and the woman must not pay for the meal. And even sometimes, if a man pays for the meal, then what does it mean he has access to? Does he has access to kissing after the date, to having sex, to touching or whatever? There's these described norms or declared norms that if I pay for the meal, then that means it entitles me to something. What about aggression? If women are angry or loud and she's very aggressive, she's acting like a man, she mustn't be angry, she must be meek and quiet. And if a man shows his emotion, it's usually through anger, and that's how men are supposed to be. What about vanity? Women must be always dressed nicely, makeup and put on, and they must be look pretty. And men don't need to do much with their appearance, whether it's their nails or their makeup or hair, and women have this standard that they have to live up to. So obviously, some of these have changed but these were some of the traditional roles. Maybe on the chat or in your culture or faith community, what are some of those that you have seen? So let's take it back to I'm going to stop share so I can see any comments.
Yeah, there is a comment. Religious setting, women should not preach, only men. I guess that's more a stereotype coming through. That's what Sam is sharing, Marisha.
Yes, so in certain faith communities, women are not to be faith leaders. Only men can be faith leaders, and that's something that I think in different communities as well is what has been happening in the faith sector. And I think while certain faith communities do ordain women or do have women faith leaders, not every community is able to do this. Yes, it is a possibility to get a copy of this information. I'm sure Anissa then will share the slides. Okay, I don't see any others, but please do put up what some of your traditional roles or harmful ones that have been. I am going to go back to sharing. If we go on, so an important part of this, are you seeing the slide on teach your child consent?
Yes, we are, but there's some of those windows like we've been seeing on mine as well.
Okay, let me hide that. So what's important is that from a young age, I think Neo has mentioned it, is to start talking about this to kids from the time they are babies, if you can say it in that way. Whether it's about the body parts, when, for example, in parenting or childcare, we often make up silly names for children's private parts, like calling the penis totties or the vagina a cookie. And, this can be really confusing for children, but that's what we grow up because we feel so ashamed to say the scientific words or to name it what it is. But we will say this is a nose. We'll teach a child your nose or your eyes. But when it comes to the breast or boobs or headlights, or I'm just thinking, why do we do that? Why do we do that? So here's what we should do is use the correct names for body parts. Think about consent when it comes to asking children to go and hug and kiss other people, and they don't feel comfortable with that. I know for many of us in our families, and Seth often shares this when he was young, and if he had to go for holidays and meet his family, he'd had to go right around the room and kiss everybody, and they would kiss on the lips, and children obviously are not comfortable with it, but sometimes we force them. We're like, oh, they're so disrespectful. They're not hugging. They're not kissing. They're not. But this is what, when we force kids to do some of these things from a young age, it then teaches them that they can also use their power to control and force others to do things, because that's what was done to them. So here's a way of asking children, would you like to give a hug, or would you like to give whatever
Manish, there's
interaction?
still one of those black spots on the right side of the screen. I don't know what I think it's one of the floating symbols. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm not seeing it
Okay,
on
that's
mine.
better.
So. And then, but the slides, you will definitely get access to it, so you will have a chance to look at it properly without all of these floating and problem with the tech issues. So we do apologize for that. And then, share silly secrets as a game and let other people do so, to keep secrets and to really talk to our children about what secrets are. And when people talk about secrets, tell them, your family doesn't keep those secrets. I think this often happens in socializing our kids as well. If something is happening in the family, don't tell anybody about that, because we don't want people to know our business, and those things are for the family. Obviously, there's ways in which we need to be able to share this with our kids. What's appropriate, what's not appropriate, what touches are harmful, and even though it feels good, so children don't become confused about those things. But consent really starts from the youngest age, even when, for example, we are bathing our children or changing their diapers, to let them know, I'm changing your diaper, I'm going to wipe you, or I'm going to wash you, can you wash yourself? But if you get hurt, I need to check, a doctor will need to check. So informing them of these things, and that starts from little babies, so that they know and they are always aware of what is appropriate, what is a good touch, what is a safe touch, what is unsafe. So hopefully that is making sense there. Seth, are you able to play that video for us on consent before I move on?
Yes, let me try, please. If you can stop screen share.
Okay.
I think you need to press escape, Marisha. Oh, there we go. Yes. Okay, so are we still all there? Can we get some thumbs up? And are you still, everybody still with us? Thank you for
Yes, still here.
Lovely, Lebohang, and I hope you're enjoying the learning with Marisha. Let me go to the video that she's requesting. Marisha, I think I'm going to play it off without going to full screen. Is that okay?
Yes, that's
Marisha?
fine.
Okay, here we go. So this is a video that Marisha requested, and I'll play it there. Let's make sure the sound is coming through. Okay, there we go.
Only 1 in 3 Canadians fully understand what consent is. So Western, let's talk about it. Let's think about consent like a bike ride. If you wanted to go on a bike ride with someone, you'd say, "Hey, I'd like to go on a bike ride with you." And they'd be like, "Hey, I'd like to go on a bike ride with you." Boom. Put on your helmet, kid. You're going on a bike ride. You might hear things like, "This feels great," or "Keep going." These are ways you know they're enjoying the bike ride. Maybe not those ones. If they said no, then that's that. They do not want to go on a bike ride with you. You don't toss them up on a bike and say, "Oh, come on, it'll be fun." No is no. And if they don't say anything at all, it's still a no. The absence of a yes is a no. They could say, "Heck yeah," or, "I might want to." And you put on your biker shorts, get the bike, grab the helmets, and in that time, they decided that they don't want to and start to backpedal. And that's okay. They aren't obligated to go on that bike ride. You'll just have to bike on your own. Oh, and being dressed in bike shorts and a helmet doesn't automatically mean someone wants to ride a bike. It's quite presumptuous to think they do. Even if you happen to be in a relationship with your bike partner, you have to ask each and every time. Say your bike partner has had a couple of drinks, and we're not talking about water. They're not ready to go for a bike ride, even if they've told you they are. A drunk yes is not a sober yes, and by law, you need a sober yes. Oh, and just because you bought them drinks all night, it does not entitle you to a bike ride with them. Same rules apply if they're unconscious. The conscious people can't ride bikes, and they definitely can't say yes to doing so. The number one priority is to make sure they're safe. Even if they're just sleeping, they can't say yes to a bike ride. And it can be a scary thing to wake up and find yourself on a bike. Imagine your boss telling someone, "You can only work here if you bike with me to work." That's crossing the line. It would be an abuse of power for a boss or a person of influence to suggest such a thing. And just because someone wanted to go for a bike ride once, doesn't mean they'll want to every time. Maybe it was just a one-bike stand. You can't say, "What are you talking about? We biked last night." You're simply not entitled to another bike ride if they don't want to. Maybe your fellow cyclist is totally cool with biking on paved roads. That does not mean that they are up for extreme mountain biking. You're not going to insist that they go speeding down a mountain with you if they are only interested in paved roads. That's uncomfortable territory, and you don't want to pressure your bike partner, do you? What if Alex here told you that Taylor really wants to ride bikes with you? Does that mean you throw Taylor up on a bike and say, "All right, let's start pedaling"? No. The only person that could say Taylor wants to go for a bike ride is Taylor. When all is said and done, riding a bike with someone should be fun, memorable, and hey, maybe a bit sweaty. But it can only be that way when everyone involved has willingly agreed to participate. So whether it's having sex or bike riding, consent is key.
Thank you, Sam. So hopefully you got that. While they were talking about the bike ride, here again we're using the bike ride as a way of talking about sex. But what's important, many different points came up there about the importance of what consent is. And if I quickly share again this video, Seth, can you quickly share that slide? So the previous slide on consent is to remember it in this way, because a lot of it, so if you think of the word fires, lighting the right kind of fires, consent should always be freely given and mutuality on both sides, on whoever's involved. It mustn't be assumed or coerced. If it is, then it's not consent, if there's pressure. Informed, they must know exactly what's going to be done or what's going to be involved, And that must be shared, before you even get into situations of that. What you are comfortable with. I'm comfortable with kissing or holding a hand or touching. I'm not comfortable with oral sex, or I'm comfortable with oral sex. And some of those things, those conversations that needs to be had. And even if you've not had the opportunity to discuss it before, in the moment, being informed and giving consent. Yes, that feels good. Yes, please continue. Yes, I'm not comfortable with that, or please stop. And again, how does that regulation come in so that each person can stop there and then if the consent is taken away? It's reversible. It can be drawn at any time. So, like it said in the because you went bike riding last night doesn't mean now the next morning you can go bike riding again without getting consent again. Does that make sense? If you had sex before, if you've done something had oral sex or whatever it is, before, and it means that you still need to check in. Is it still good that we can do this? Or does this still feel good? Can I still continue? And then enthusiastic, it must be an expressive yes, not maybe. And if there's no yes, if there's silence, then take it as a no. So to know that as well. And then specific, consent to one thing does not mean, consent to another. So hopefully that makes sense and that's helpful. If there's questions, Mafa, I did see your hand up. Was there a question that you wanted to ask?
Good morning, leaders. No, Marisha, I was sorted. Thank you. I forgot to put it down.
Okay, no problem.
Hola, Mafungwaze from KZN.
And then I'm going to quickly move to boundaries and just some ways of talking about boundaries and how to set that up and why boundaries are important. So Seth, if you could go to those slides. And then remember the slides will be shared with you. So boundaries in relationships are very important. It's ways that we can express what our comfort levels, what our needs, what our values, and not just for when it comes to sex and sexuality, but when it comes to communication about what we like, what we don't like, how we like to be talked about, expression of our privacy. And there's many different types, our time, how often we see people, when we see them, where we see them, how close, physical space, emotional needs, mental needs, intellectual differences. How do we hold that? Especially like if we have of different faiths, how do we hold those intellectual differences together? The digital aspects, social media, what can you post about me? What shouldn't you post about me? What am I comfortable with showing, in digital? With the phone as well, can we be on our phones on a date and doing our thing, or money and privacy? So there's many different types of boundaries. And then for you to think about a boundary like a fence that you put up, or that you explain to someone that this is my boundary and why you need it and what's it about, more than it being a complete wall that shuts you out from each other. A fence is more something that can connect you, or even as a bridge, if you think about it as a bridge from yourself to the other person. So a fence or bridge more than a wall that blocks you off from, the values of love and communication in a relationship. And then if we move on, why is it needed? Or what's important about boundaries? So it helps us improve our respect, how people should treat you, what's important for you. It builds trust because there are clear limits. We often in relationships think that people should read our mind. They should know, no matter whether it's you've just dating for a week or whether you're together for years, we still expect people, they should know these things. But it's important to continue to communicate that, to be clear about it. And then the less guessing means that you'd have less fights about it. And then self-care, it helps, stop burnout. So even if it's a simple thing, like whether it's a work boundary, I won't take any calls after 5 p.m. if it's a work issue, or I'm not going to answer any emails after hours. So setting that and making sure that people know that. So it protects you from burnout and from resentment building up. So even if people are emailing you, they know you're not going to respond till it's your working hours again. Or if someone has spoken to you 5 times already in the day, that was your limit, or chatted to you, that's my limit. I'm good with having a checking in the morning or maybe in the evening, but if you don't hear from me in the day, then it doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that I'm good with it. And then how do you interact with others who may have the need for, oh, please check in with me 5 times in the day? And then you negotiate and you speak about why this is important and what's healthy for you. So it's also there to help you have healthier relationships, so you feel safe, they feel safe, and that you have some freedom, and that you don't feel like we are controlling each other. Boundaries is not about controlling the other person at all. It's more about protecting you and your safety and what respect and trust you need. If we move on, here are important things that you know on how to setting up. ABCs: awareness, know what you need, assess what you need, and acknowledge this is what I need. Reflect on what drains you, what makes you uncomfortable, what crosses the line, what are the red flags. If someone is controlling you, if you feel like they are overpowering you, so notice that. And then you start building your boundaries. Remember, boundaries are to strengthen the relationship. It's aren't about controlling others, but it's more about protecting you. And then you communicate that. You communicate it using your I statements. I feel uncomfortable. I feel overwhelmed. I would like less interaction in this, or I would not like my face or picture put up in Facebook. I need this, instead of you always do this, or you must stop doing this. So it's more about using the I statements. Be clear and specific. For example, when it comes to consent, I'm comfortable with holding hands. I don't want to be touched in this way. I don't want to have sex. So you be clear and specific about those. And then consistency and change. Boundaries can be consistent or they can change. What's okay today may not be okay tomorrow. So always reassess that. So those are some, I've run through quite quickly because of time. We quickly want to offer you some resources, and then Seth is going to give us some insights on June 16th, and then we will come to a close. So here are some resources. The Key Ready, please do take this number down, 060 019 0000. I have Key Ready on my WhatsApp now, so please save it now and say hello. This is a really great app for youth. It's a chatbot, but what it does, it allows you to ask a whole range of issues. For example, I need to know more about masturbation, or I'm going to have sex for the first time. What do I need to be, aware of? So Key Ready is about mental health issues, about sex, sexuality, peer pressure, drugs, anything. And what we are seeing now, a lot of AI, the number one thing that AI is used for is mental health issues and concerns. People are needing to connect, sharing with someone, I'm not feeling good, or I feel suicidal, or I have these thoughts. And so Key Ready is an excellent app to help with that. I'm just going to mention another one is the 1,000 Women Trust, especially for faith leaders and community workers. And I will put the number on the chat as well. I also have that one on my phone. Is to check. They have training courses on GBV, on safety, so you can also do that on there. But if you need help on Tutuzela care centers, how to talk about where to get help on protection orders or court case or anything like that, that can also help you. Now, I know we have 1 minute left, so I just want to check on time. Are people okay with just spending 5 more minutes as Seth shares a few more resources and then we come to a close? So Seth, let me just hand over to you as you share that resources. Okay, thank you for that. So I'm going to put the numbers on the chat as Seth shares about the Fathers Matter resource. And remember, even though these resources are specifically maybe for youth or for men or for parents, anybody can have access to it, and you can ask any of those questions that concerns you concerning consent, gender, boundaries, GBV. They are able to help in those ways. Over to you, Seth.
Yeah, so we put these resources together in light of youth building positive gender norms in relationships. So the Kiredi one Marisha told you about, she's giving you access to the 1,000 women. There's another WhatsApp platform. The number is 0600582107. And while it was originally designed thinking that the focus will be on men, we acknowledge that men also need help from their mothers, their wives, their sisters. And today we have more than 11,000 people signed up on that app called the Fathers Matter Coach. And it gives you accessible tips. It's a free and easy to use app provided you have access to data. So this is an app that has really been providing success insights, how to navigate, being a better man, a more positive, active, present man and father for the well-being of children. We also have youth and young adults that have signed up onto that platform of WhatsApp with 0600582107. The other resource is the interfaith ngbv.org.za, which is really a praxis community around GBV awareness. And so if you're a faith leader and you want to bring in conversations into your faith community for youth and young people, this will be an amazing platform for you to connect with. Okay, and that's part of Faith Action to End Gender-Based Violence, and we will speak out. The Fathers Matter coach that I just spoke about is linked to Heartlines and the campaign of Fathers Matter. Then lastly, at UN Women, the link that's there is really around what Marisha was speaking about, the busting the myths of gender, consent, and boundaries. And this is it's articles, but it's also a learning space where you can actually have practical activities of how to talk to kids about positive gender norms and gender justice. All right, so that's what we have there for you. And the app that I was talking about, Fathers Matter, this is kind of the Fathers Matter coach. It gives you practical insights. It gives you private and easy access. You grow in confidence as a dad or as a social father. You connect to a bigger movement that is doing this work. So please make use of that. Lastly, we bring you to the focus on June 16th, 1976. As we think about youth and young people, it's 50 years this June that we remember and commemorate the lives of the generation of June 16th. Here's a picture, the iconic picture you may remember of Hector Peterson being carried by Sam and Zima, who is reported to have, eventually left the country on exile, but then never returned. And they suspect that he passed while being away in other borders. I make mention to that because in June 16, 2026, we must be aware that many other African countries housed our people who were in exile. So be careful for the lingo and language of Afrophobia and xenophobia. And I know that some people are making arguments to say, listen, unemployment, it's because of the internationals that are here, those that are undocumented. No, that's not true. Our unemployment problem is our problem as South Africans. Yes, the people that are in this land are working, but they're working for basic needs and necessities. So in light of June 16th, 1976, be aware and be concerned for Afrophobia and xenophobia, and do not be a promoter of such thinking. please resist the temptation to fall into that faulty thinking that it's okay for us to act out in violence and ill-treat people that are from other nation states who are living in this country, undocumented as they may be. And there are also people that are documented. So let us be aware not to join that as faith leaders, and to teach youth and young people about those irregular norms that are out there, status quo norms that are making our country seem that by and large we're a xenophobic nation or an Afrophobic nation, and we are not. So as a faith leader, I want to say that today to us. Also on the left side of the screen right there is Antoinette Sitole, the sister of Hector Peterson. And I bring forward a picture here where you can see just a few years ago, she was still involved with us at the Hector Peterson Museum, where our children got a chance to go to the museum. This is another space I want to encourage you. Teach our young people about our history. By doing so, they're able to pick up on the narratives of our apartheid past, of how we cannot be a country that are now judging on other lines and fault lines based on race and gender and class. We as a country cannot be saying, oh, because you are non-binary and you don't fit, these gender norms, I'm going to judge you. No, by looking back at where we come from, we have a history of marginalized people being ill-treated, systemically so by government. So when we reflect on June 16th, it gives us a broader narrative to think about, well, how is it that we can work more positively into the future? So friends, thank you for spending your time with us. I hope that you'll take from this June 16th in this way. And here's some words. Lest we forget, remembering is dangerous. And perhaps that dangerous memory is what is required in our here and now. I won't read the entire reflection that I wrote, but let me go to the last lines. I remember what I saw happen to my dad during apartheid. And when I look around, there's unfortunately and tragically too many apartheid-like circumstances everywhere I look. I am disrupted, irritated, and will do my part to speak out and continue to work for a more just and equitable South Africa of well-being for all of us. I will speak truth to power and use my skills and experiences and draw from my values to make positive social impact. I hope that you all will do the same. So by way of closing out at our checkout circle, what commitment do you make when we think about the June 16, 1976 uprisings in June of 2026 as a faith leader? May I ask you to please put that in the chat box. But with that, thank you for spending the time with us. Thank you to Neo, thank you to Marisha, and thank you to Anissa for being an amazing host and allowing us the opportunity to join with the National Shelter Movement. We are very honored to be a part of the team. Thank you. Please put your final closeout remarks, thinking about June 16th in light of how we shape norms, in light of how we change the gender norms, in light of remembering and having a dangerous memory that we still uphold justice. Thank you very much. Back to you, Anissa.
Thank you to our amazing facilitators and presenters, Marisha, Seth, Neo. Thank you everybody for spending your morning with us and participating. We've certainly had a very interesting session. Thank you for bearing with us and being patient through our difficulties with tech. Also kindly note some of the participants have put some resources like Bright Sky essay, Grit. Also, Melanie has posted the National Shelter Movement of South Africa's 24-hour shelter placement, GBV shelter placement helpline. The number is on there. Alternatively, it's 0800 001 005. It is a toll-free number for those of anyone needing GBV placement, or if you know of someone who needs placement. On that note, and again, thank you for bearing with us. We are a few minutes late. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to having you. Please note that these workshops have been running every quarter. We were supposed to do it in May. We ran 1 month late. For next quarter, we're hoping that it will be in August usually, right? So let's see, if not, August is Women's Month as well. So yeah, but look out for our notifications. Take care, everybody, and have a great day going forward. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
Anissa. Thank you, everybody. Go well.
Thank you, Nick.